So you can do 5 precepts, you can do 8 precepts, and do whatever works for you according to your schedule. This is a home retreat, so you can plan accordingly, follow the schedule that works for you. The only thing I would request is that you do show up for the group Q&As and for the interviews. So that's going to be important. Other than that, you're free to meditate whenever you want, however you want. Remember to do walking meditation. I'll get into that as well. So yeah, so after doing the precepts, you do the Dhammapada verses. So you take the refuges first. If you're inclined to, then take the precepts and then do the Dhammapada verses. So in terms of the instructions, for those who are starting out with this practice, those who are new to this practice, I will give you the instructions. Instructions are very simple. First of all, this is a feeling-based meditation, which means that it is a meditation where you actually feel something in your heart and in your body. It's a psychosomatic feeling. So you bring up this feeling of loving kindness. You might be familiar with words like, may I be happy, may I be well, may I be free of suffering, may I be filled with loving kindness. You can use these statements, you can use these words as a way to bring up the feeling of loving kindness. But you use it a couple of times until the feeling comes up. Or you can use an image of something that makes your mind uplifted. Maybe a very serene, calm environment that you like to be in. You can imagine yourself holding a little smiling, laughing baby in your arms, or a playful puppy or kitten in your arms. Or you can think about some memory, bring up a memory that you find very wholesome to you, like the birth of your child, or the day you graduated, or the day you got married, or whatever it might be that makes you happy, that genuinely brings up a smile on your face. Once you have that, you will feel this warmth in the center of your chest. This warmth is the feeling of loving kindness. And you stay with that feeling of loving kindness. You let the mind be imbued with that loving kindness. You let your heart be imbued with that loving kindness. You let the loving kindness be ever present in the scope of your mind. And that just basically means to rest and stabilize your mind in that feeling. Just be aware of that feeling. So the first thing you do, the very, very first thing you do, you sit down, keep your mind calm, keep your body erect, keep it straight. And if it helps for the first 1 or 2 minutes, you can do a body scan and just relax any tightness and tension in the face, any tightness and tension in the body, and then bring up a smile on your face. Just a small smile. You might not be able to see the Buddha clearly behind me, but if you ever see an image of the Buddha, or if you see a statue of the Buddha, chances are you will see him smiling from the corners of his mouth. So just a small Buddha smile on your face. And then a little smile in your eyes, and a little smile in your mind, and a little smile in your heart, which means you just relax. You keep the mind light, you keep your eyes light, you keep your heart light. And then you bring up that statement of loving kindness, may I be happy, or you bring up something that makes you happy, like an image or a memory. You could also use gratitude. You know, one of the most powerful practices to do is when you get up in the morning is to do a gratitude practice. Start to be aware of the things that you are grateful for in your life. When you do this, your mind becomes naturally uplifted. When you do this, your mind starts to see the goodness in your life and the goodness in beings around you. So if that helps, you can do that. And as soon as the feelings start, that warm, fuzzy feeling that arises in the center of your chest starts, You let go of the image, you let go of any statements in your mind, you let go of everything but that feeling. And you let the feeling be there for as long as it can be there. Don't try to push it. This is very important to understand. The two common drawbacks that people have with the meditation is basically either they're trying too hard or they can't accept themselves. So if you're trying too hard, you're going to find that your body tenses up, that your face crunches up. And if you notice this, you have to let go of that. And there's a special way of doing that, which I'll get to in a minute. And if you can't accept yourself, then there's another meditation that I will give you. And that will only be given once I know from your first interview how you're doing in your practice. But these are the two common setbacks, I should say, that people experience when it comes to this meditation, because they're not fully able to accept themselves. They're not fully able to just be with themselves and be happy with themselves as they are in that moment. So anyway, you start off the first 10 minutes by bringing up loving kindness and staying with the loving kindness and staying, letting that loving kindness be directed towards you. So that's why you say, may I be happy, may I be well, may I be free of suffering. This is for you for the first 10 minutes or for as long as you want it to be. Just stay with that loving kindness and it will start to bring all kinds of feelings of joy, feelings of happiness, feelings of elation, a lot of positive experiences. And you might sense that the loving kindness wants to go out, or you want to share that loving kindness. So that's the second aspect of this meditation for the beginners. You bring up a spiritual friend. Now, we commonly say spiritual friend. This is your Kalyana Mitta, as it's known in Pali. Kalyana is not actually spiritual. Kalyana means, beneficial or goodness. So the friend that you want to feel this loving kindness for, this friend has to be alive. They cannot be a family member for the time being, because we will get to that when you progress in the meditation. And they have to be of the same sex. So these are the instructions for the spiritual friend. Now, the spiritual friend can be somebody you personally know. It's probably better that it's somebody that you personally know, because the friend will be somebody who you think about and immediately you have a smile on your face. That's a good spiritual friend. That's a good friend to send loving kindness to. It could be somebody you don't know, but you have admiration for. It could be the Dalai Lama, if you're male, or it could be Malala Yousafzai, if you're a woman. It could be anybody that inspires you. And then you can either imagine that spiritual friend in front of you while you're meditating, and that they're smiling at you and you're smiling back at them. And there's a heart-to-heart connection where your loving kindness reaches out to them and they are basking in that feeling of loving kindness. Some people can, very much visualize all aspects of the spiritual friend and it's very detailed and so on. That's all well and good, but it's not necessary. You could also just think about your spiritual friend and understand that the intention now is that that feeling of loving kindness is going towards them. Some people like to imagine the spiritual friend in the center of their heart and just feel that warm glow in their heart, and that their spiritual friend is being imbued and basking in this feeling of loving kindness. So that will be the duration of the meditation. First 10 minutes, or as long as you can, at least 10 minutes, is towards yourself. And then shift that loving kindness toward just one spiritual friend, one. Same sex, is alive, not a family member. And so you do this for the duration of the practice, and you want to sit for a minimum of 30 minutes, at least 30 minutes. If you can sit longer, please sit longer. Now, invariably, with this meditation, you will get distracted. It is a signature of any meditation that you will get distracted. Don't beat yourself up for it. It's no big deal. Your distractions that come up are your teachers. They shed light on where your attachments lie, on where the sources of aversion are, the little things that irritate you, the little things that you have craving for. And so be grateful that they're coming up. Fine, they are coming up. You acknowledge that they're coming up. This is the first step. So we have this process called the 6 R's. And that's just the modern way of looking at what is known as the 4 right efforts, right? So the 4 right efforts, we'll get into that as we get into, as you start to see the Dhamma talks and we get into the Q&As. But the 4 right efforts are basically preventing the arising of unarisen, unwholesome states. So these unwholesome states can be anything from sensual craving to restlessness, to sloth and torpor, to doubt. You know, restlessness is where the mind gets very energetic, a lot of agitation, a lot of energy. Sloth and torpor is the opposite of that. The mind gets dull, the mind gets sleepy, the mind is unable to concentrate. Doubt can be about, you know, I don't know if I'm doing this practice right. Am I in a wholesome state of mind, or am I feeling in an unwholesome state of mind? So some level of confusion that happens. Sensual craving, you hear something, now your mind goes there, no longer on its object of meditation. Aversion, somebody shuts the door, you get irritated by that, you know, or a plane passes by overhead and now your mind is there and now you're upset by that. So these are the different kinds of hindrances. These are the different kinds of distractions that you will be dealing with. The sooner you get friendly with these hindrances, the better your meditation will go. Don't resist them. Don't push them away. There's an acronym that Bhante would have used before, which was DROPS. Don't resist or push, soften and smile. Don't resist or push, soften and smile. So don't resist. They're coming up, let them be there. Don't push. Don't try to, you know, get back to your meditation object very quickly and then force your mind on it. Just soften and smile. So that's where the 6 R's come up. So the first right effort, as I said, was preventing the arising of unwholesome states, the unarisen unwholesome states. As soon as you recognize, oh, my mind is now distracted because I'm thinking about this or that, you stop that whole flow as soon as you recognize. That means that you have brought up your mindfulness. Now you become aware. Now you are present. Now you have full awareness of what is going on. So this is the first R, to recognize that your mind is distracted. The second right effort is to abandon already arisen unwholesome states. So whatever it is that is taking you away from the object of meditation, the feeling of loving kindness, that is the already arisen unwholesome state. And how do you abandon that? You release it. That's the second R. You release it by bringing your attention away from that distraction, from whatever that is, whether it's doubt or aversion or restlessness or whatever it might be. And then you bring your mind back to the present moment by anchoring it to your mind and your body. And then the third R to that is to relax. You have to consciously relax. So what does it mean to relax? You know what it means to relax. To be tensed up is you've tensed up your fist. As you let go, you relax. A very good friend of mine, Venerable Metananda, has a different way of looking at it. And it's a wonderful way of looking at it. So you can all try this if you want now or later. You put your finger right in front of you and you concentrate deeply on looking at just the finger. You're going to notice a slight tension in the hand. But as soon as you take away the finger and you start to expand your vision, your mind remains calm and collected and relaxed. So the same way, the relaxed process, the relaxed step is basically just relaxing the tension and tightness in the body, the tension and tightness in the mind, letting the mind become spacious again. When you do this, when you relax, you experience a mundane form of Nibbana. You experience the third noble truth of the cessation of suffering right there. Because you have let go of the hindrance, which is the cause of the dukkha, the cause of the suffering. Then you come back to the smile. Notice if you're smiling. If you're not smiling, bring up that smile a little bit. And then return to your object of meditation and repeat whenever necessary. So when you release and relax, you are abandoning the unwholesome state of mind. When you bring up the smile, you are bringing up a wholesome state of mind. And when you return and stay with that, you're maintaining the wholesome state of mind. So that's the third and fourth right effort. So doing the 6 R's is essentially doing right effort, right? So how do you do this? You start off with the feeling of loving kindness. Maybe a minute or two later, you start to get distracted. Even less than that. Maybe 10 seconds later, you get distracted. Maybe 5 seconds later, you get distracted. No big deal. As soon as your attitude is, okay, there will be hindrances. They're there. I'm okay with them. I'm fine with this. You notice it. So you recognize it. You release it. Relax mind and body. Re-smile. Return to your object of meditation. The 6 R's are not to be done by thinking in your mind, okay, now I'm recognizing, now I'm releasing, now I'm relaxing, now I'm re-smiling, now I'm returning. No, you're doing it. Just like Nike would say, just do it, right? You don't have to think about it. As soon as you recognize, that's recognized. As soon as you notice, oh, I'm distracted, that's recognized. You bring your mind back, that's release. You relax, you smile, come back to your object. And then repeat whenever necessary. Repeat whenever you get distracted. So you roll the R's, as they say. Roll the R's means within the span of, let's say, 3 to 4 seconds, 5 seconds at the most, you are coming back to your object of meditation from your distraction using the 6 R process. Recognize, release, relax, re-smile, return. And then repeat whenever necessary. Now, while you're doing the sitting practice, you can sit for as long as you can, as I said, at least 30 minutes. But when you're doing the walking practice, you might find it a little bit more difficult to stay with your object of meditation. That's fine. Accept it. Be aware that that's going to happen. The way to do the walking meditation is you walk at a normal pace, as you would walk down the street or in a park. You don't need to walk slowly, trying to focus on, every movement of every step and so on and so forth. No, just walk at a normal pace. Here, the attention is to the feeling of loving kindness. Here, the attention is to your spiritual friend. And you're just aware of them. You're aware of the feeling of loving kindness, and you're staying with them. And if you get distracted, you do the same thing. Maybe you're walking in the park and you notice a really beautiful tree, or you notice a squirrel playing, or you notice the birds in the air, and now you're distracted. You're looking at that. You get distracted, recognize you got distracted, release, relax, re-smile, come back to the feeling, keep walking, right? So that doesn't mean you have to stop walking and then do the 6 R's. Keep walking and do the 6 R's while you're walking. The reason why we would want you to do this is because you have to be able to feel the loving kindness no matter where you are, what it is that you're doing. Whether you're driving, whether you're listening to the radio, whether you're taking a shower, whether you're having breakfast, you always imbue everything with loving kindness. Another thing I would point out is when you wake up in the morning, right? Before you wake up, the night before when you're ready to go to sleep, you make a determination, two things. One, I will wake up at so and so time. Try to make that determination and see how best the mind is able to match it. Let's say, the alarm is supposed to ring at 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. or whatever it might be. Make a determination that I'll wake up at 4:58 or I'll wake up at 5:56 in the morning, and see how close your mind gets to that when you get up. The second part is very important, that when you wake up, you make a determination that when you wake up, you will wake up with a smile on your face. As soon as you have a smile, you have mindfulness. Be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of your mind state. Be aware what's going on as you get out of bed. What is the mood like? What is your mental state? And then bring up the loving kindness. Keep that going. Keep the smile as you're brushing your teeth, as you're making your coffee, as you're making your breakfast. Keep the loving kindness going. Keep the smile going. This meditation is not just limited to sitting and to walking. It is a full day meditation. There's even a book that Bhante Vimoransi has written, right? Meditation is life, life is meditation, or the other way around, whatever it is. But basically, you keep meditating no matter what it is that you're doing, with the awareness of loving kindness. This is for the beginners. And of course, for the people who are a little more advanced. Now, for the people who are doing the 6 directions, you keep doing that, right? So you start off first 5 minutes in one direction, next 5 minutes in the other direction, so 5 minutes in each direction. It's already 30 minutes. And then in all directions at the same time for the duration of the meditation. Now, you don't have to start with loving kindness. If you're an advanced practitioner, you just allow the mind to see what it feels like. Maybe it feels like radiating equanimity in that time. Send out equanimity. Maybe it feels like radiating compassion. Send out compassion. You don't have to start with loving kindness. You can start with wherever you'd like. But always do first 5 minutes of sending it out, or first 30 minutes, 5 minutes each direction, sending out, and then continue with radiating in all directions. Same with the walking. With the walking, you're just radiating in all directions and walking. Right? We're in this bubble of loving kindness or compassion or mudita or equanimity. And last I would say is don't forget to have fun. Right? You signed up for this meditation retreat, and really it's your vacation time. It's time to let go of, all your work requirements and things that need to be done, the emails that need to be answered, the people that need to be met, all of that stuff. Let it all go. For these next 9 or 10 days, you are on vacation. So act like it. Be happy, enjoy yourselves, laugh, smile, keep your mind uplifted. Are there any questions? Oh, nobody has a question. This always happens on the first day. Nobody ever has a question. Oh, there we go.
I have a question. Graham.
Yes.
Firstly, very grateful for your presence here and looking forward to the retreat. Just a quick question. Can you be the spiritual friend?
You mean me?
Yeah.
Or you, yourself?
No, you. Could you be my spiritual friend? Because I haven't chosen one yet.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I could use all the loving kindness I could get.
Okay.
If you could make me your spiritual friend, I would really appreciate it.
Okay. One other thing, just quickly, I was noticing when we signed up to retreat, there were sort of more interviews. There were like sort of one interview a day, whereas now I see we've got a few gaps. Is there anything different that we should do to prepare for that, or if something comes up?
So I would say, yeah, that's a good question, because you might want to just keep a diary with you or a journal where, you know, because there will be a day or two where we don't have interviews. Like there's that gap, as you said. So just write down what happened, you know, in your best meditation sit. Just focus on what was the best meditation sit of all the sits that you had, and write down a few notes right after that meditation that this is what happened, and, you know, and so on. Okay. And so that's a good preparation for the interviews.
Right.
Yeah, John.
Yeah, I think in the previous talk I saw you were saying it's not a therapy session. It's just I want to know 3 things or something like that. So what was that? That was how long was the sit? What were the others?
Oh, right. So yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, so you wanted, for the sake of your best interest, in terms of, so I can provide you the best information that you need for your practice, I would just require a few things. Number one, what was your best sit? How long was that best sit? What was your object in meditation? How long did you stay with the object in meditation? And what did you do when you got distracted? And if anything new happened. So 6 questions. You want me to repeat that? Did you get that, guys? What was your best sit, right? What was your best sit? How long was that best sit? What was your object of meditation? How long did you stay with your object of meditation before you got distracted? So that's an average, you know, it could be maybe an average of 2 minutes or an average of 20 seconds, you know, before you got distracted. So that kind of thing. And then what did you do to come back to your object of meditation when you got distracted? And if anything new happened. So, you know, you might have experiences that didn't happen before in the meditation the previous day. So something new comes up, please let me know.
Thank you, Acharya.
Anyone else?
Acharya.
Yes, Kushal.
Yeah. While radiating in all the directions, we don't have to always say, I'm radiating this, I'm radiating to the infinity. And we have to just feel it, right?
That's right.
Commentary, we don't have to comment, keep on running commentary like that. So
that's right. You don't have to say, you know, may I be happy, may all beings be happy, and so on. You could try it in the first beginning part of the meditation, like for your, let's say for a beginner, if they have a spiritual friend, you could just direct words to them, may you be happy, may you be well, or whatever works. And if you're doing the 6 directions, if you feel like you want to do it the first time and say, may all beings be happy in this direction, or whatever it might be, that's fine. But you don't need to keep that going like a mantra, right? This isn't a mantra meditation. So just a couple of times and then let go of that once you have the feeling. And you will notice though, like you're talking about the running commentary, like you'll notice the mind, like, okay, this is what's happening. That's okay. That's fine. That's not a distraction. So long as you're with the object, just that's the perception aspect of your mind that is noting down what's going on. And that is just a natural aspect of the mind. So let that be. That's fine.
One other thing, Delson.
Yes.
I know we've got some audio files to listen to every day, teachings. Can we watch more, some of your other videos on YouTube, or should we just keep it to that one that you've given us links for?
Yeah, I would say for the purpose of the retreat, just stay with that link. I don't know if you can find it on YouTube, if it's available, Kin, but maybe it's just an audio file for now. But just stick to the one audio or video, whatever it is that you're being given, because that's just helping you have a schedule that, okay, it's time for a Dhamma talk. You're listening to that. You're getting some insights from there. I want you guys to be able to spend the majority of your day in practice more than in reading any material or watching Dhamma videos or listening to Dhamma audios. I would say 80% to 90, 85 to 90% of your time should be in practice, walking or sitting or whatever it might be. And then the rest is just basically the Q&As or interviews or listening to Dhamma talk for that day.
Okay, understood.
Delson?
Yeah. Hey.
Hey. So, when I start meditating, I prefer to go into quiet mind. It's just pleasant, right? But could you speak a little bit on the benefits of radiating?
Yes. Yeah. So I would say, even if it's like you're at that level where you want to be in quiet mind, you want to be able to radiate for at least the first, 10 to 15 minutes at the very least, because that kind of balances the energy in the mind. There could be a tendency where if you slip into quiet mind, your mind could dull out and you don't even recognize that, So it's just a precaution, let's say, to keep the mind balanced in terms of its energy. So even if it's like 1 or 2 minutes in each direction, and then if the mind just slips into quiet mind, that's fine.
Okay. Can you speak a little bit about why the directions and not just like radiate?
Yeah, because again, it's about balancing energy. You're focusing on one place and then, bringing up samadhi. So what you're doing with that is you're starting to balance out each of the enlightenment factors. Right? You're bringing up the mindfulness, you're bringing up the energy, you're bringing up the samadhi, the concentration or collectedness. And then, you develop a little bit of that tranquility and equanimity, and then, your mind becomes more stable. So that's the only reason why you would do it in each direction. Now, there are times when people are kind of just more prone to doing it in all directions at the same time, and their mind might feel kind of tight by just doing one direction at the same, each direction, and then going into all directions. And for them, I would say, generally, then start with all directions at the same time, but see what works for you and experiment. So treat the retreat like a laboratory. So do what works for you and within the confines of the practice.
Okay, thank you. It's helpful.
Anyone else? Okay, I think we're all good.
Can you elaborate on the distinctions between the loving kindness, then the metta, and karuna and upekkha? What are the differences? How do you sense them differently?
So I will give very general statements because I don't want to influence anybody's mind, but I will just say loving kindness feels very, very light and very calm and very relaxed, and there's a certain level of happiness and joy in it. Compassion is much lighter than that. It's much quieter than that, because there's a certain level of energy, loving kindness, a certain level of buoyancy, a lot of feeling of joy in the loving kindness. Compassion is a little bit more subdued. Mudita, or empathetic joy, is quieter than the compassion, and it has some level of joy, but it's not the same as the piti joy. It's a joy that's more like happiness for other people. And then upekkha, or equanimity, is just very chilled out, very relaxed, very balanced. In fact, there's very little feeling in that, if at all. It's just this sense of, calmness, a sense of collectedness, and mind remains unagitated by good or bad, up and down. So this is the way to start to recognize those things. But if you are starting out, I would just say, for those people who are starting out, just stay with the loving kindness. And, as we progress and in the interviews, we will explore together what's going on. Are you feeling loving kindness? Are you feeling compassion? What it is that you're experiencing. Where are you in your practice? So, just start, and then, in a couple of days when we start the interviews, we will start to get more clarity on where everybody is individually. Okay, if there is no one else. No? Okay. Let's share some merit.
May suffering ones be suffering.
Do you have it on the screen for them?
Yeah, I could. Yeah, that's right. Sorry. First day of the retreat. Sorry.
That's all right.
May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear struck fearlessly. May the grieving share our grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share this merit that we have thus acquired for the acquisitions of all kinds of happiness. May being inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, share this merit of ours. May we long protect the Buddha dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu. Thank you so much, Acharya.